Hey, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to be with you guys, whether you're joining us right here on our Kirkland campus, or maybe you're at home on the couch and we are getting to just come into your living room.
Yeah.
Welcome to our living room. Maybe we're in the car. Wherever you are, we are so glad that you're here with us.
Definitely. And if you do happen to be joining us online, we would love to, one, know where you're from. So say hi in the chat. Just be friends with our host. And feel free to share that stream because I know a friend of yours needs to see today. So share that. But
it's going to be a good week.
It is.
And we know there's so many of you guys who are maybe joining us for the first time, either in person or watching online. And we would love to connect with you. And we made it super easy. If you have a phone or know how to use a phone. If you don't know how to use a phone, we got some other stuff to talk about. But if you have a phone, open that up, open up your text message, and just text Northshore to 97,000. Our team would love to connect with you. There's so much happening around campus we don't want you to miss out on. And so take an opportunity.
Yeah. It's super easy.
It's super easy. And fun because you get connected with someone on campus who would just love to talk with you and know more of your story. So do that if it's your first time. And regardless if it's your first time or not, there are some exciting things coming up. They got announced, I believe, last week. Did you hear the
what
news?
Was it?
It was literally breaking news. News ain't boop, 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 boop. It was great. Big deal. Got me off the couch
Good
when I was
sound effect,
I know, right?
Okay, so big news.
Yeah, you're like, get back on track here. Big news is Sunday, June 13th. We have some gathering time changes.
Oh, yeah.
And so our online crew and our Kirkland campus crew are all coming together for 2 services at 9 and 10:30 a.m.
Yeah.
And that starts June 13th.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
And just those 2. And here we go, 9 and 10:30. Yeah,
It's
awesome.
gonna be awesome. And in addition to that, there's some other really sweet stuff coming. So on June 13th specifically, if you come to our Kirkland campus here, you're gonna get some church, some spiritual food.
Come on.
Ooh.
And
some real food. Because we're going to have some food trucks. You like that tie-in
yeah,
there?
really good. Yeah.
We're going to have some food trucks on campus, as well as you can get your fix of caffeine.
I heard that too.
Because
that's exciting.
Coffee is coming back.
Yep. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So food trucks, coffee, new service times.
Yeah.
What a great, I mean, whether you've been here a lot or it's it's a great time to come.
Yeah.
So
and the coffee's really good. I love Northshore coffee.
Yeah, it is. It's got a special place.
So special place in my heart. So that's coming up June 13th, which really I view as this kind of mental kickoff to warmer days ahead. Sunnier, warmer days, beautiful weather, sunshine, which I know a lot of us that live in the Pacific Northwest, a lot of stuff happens.
It's a special time.
It is. It's just a special like 3 days that summer is. That's a big deal in your world. We didn't even introduce ourselves.
That's awkward.
That is awkward.
Okay.
If you're joining us, my name is Stephen Bolt. Again, I'm Director of Weekend Experience here. And
I'm Cody Pepper, and I lead our student ministry. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, I know.
So now that we've done this, it is a big deal in my world I get to work with middle school and high school students, and we kick off summer right after that. But let me tell you about something real quick, because before we start summer, we close out our final midweek of the year. Midweek is what we do. We love it every week. It's amazing.
It's a ton of fun.
And so on June 2nd, though, it's our last midweek of the semester, and we're going to throw a little midweek party, okay? So, wow.
That was the littlest amount of confetti, I think.
You're right.
Like, a lot of noise, a little confetti.
This much right here. I don't know. But
that was
it's
great.
going to be amazing. We're going to have a lot of fun just celebrating our student ministry being back in person. We are having a ton of new people join us. And just it's so good to see students worshiping Jesus every week on our campus and online as well. But that's on June 2nd. And then, Stephen, let me tell you about what's happening, though, because June 13th, we kick off as a church, and the following Wednesday for us, we are starting what we call really good branding. Ready? Summer Midweeks, which are themed. We have a lot of fun. In the past, we've turned our worship center into a laser tag arena. We've had just ice cream and milkshakes and food trucks everywhere, just all kinds you want to come to every summer midweek. You're invited, you can come, but it's going to be amazing. And I'm trying to think. Yeah, it's just a good time.
Yeah, and there's some stuff not only coming up for students.
Yeah, but that's a good point. Because, hold
Glad you
on,
brought that
I'm going to
up.
cut you off. We love summer. Okay, the next gen loves summer. We've got amazing middle school and high school camps coming your way, but awesome things are coming for kids ministry as well.
Yeah.
Justin Smith, our next gen pastor, sent in a video describing one of these awesome experiences for your kids if they're in grade school that they can be a part of.
He's joining us live.
Oh, wait, yeah. Justin, what's that?
Live from the lawless swampland that is Florida. Let's go to Justin.
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's Pastor Justin, and I'm super excited about Summer Jam coming up on July 12th. It's gonna be a week packed full of activities, videos, games. It's gonna be incredible. And the best part is, it's in your own backyard. And the reason why we're doing that is because we wanna give you an opportunity to invite your neighbors, your friends, those who wouldn't typically come to church, to experience Jesus in an incredible way with you, with your kids, with family. So don't forget to register for Summer Jam, and we'll see you in July.
Well, thank you, Justin. Yeah, we have a lot of awesome stuff coming up for students, for kids. But really, the reason we do these things is because kids and students' lives are being changed forever because of Jesus. And it's amazing to be on the front lines here and just to see people connect with God, to see them connect with friends and jump back in after, a uniquely hard season. It's been so good. Yeah. So don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. You can find all that information on our website at northshore.church/connect, or you can even come find me at the guest services table after the service. I'd love to meet you and help you find a way where your student and your kids could connect. So yeah. So good.
A lot of exciting stuff coming up. And once again, if you're just joining us, just tuned in, want to introduce ourselves. My name is Stephen Bolt.
I'm Cody Pepper.
And if this is your first time joining us, whether you're in person here on our Kirkland campus or joining us from anywhere online, we are so excited that you're choosing to spend some time with us today. And we would absolutely love to connect with you. So you can take a second right now and just text Northshore to 97,000. One of our team would, again, just love to chat with you. If you are on our Kirkland campus, obviously feel free, come out to the guest service table. Cody will be out there.
I will.
He would love to meet you,
yeah.
Say hello, tell you a really funny joke.
It's true.
He's got a lot of those on speed dial. So make sure you come on out, say hi to us. We'd love to connect with you. And this is our last week of our series, I Can Relate, yeah?
Yeah, so it's been an awesome time to be able to look through this together, and I'm excited for today. It's got an awesome experience just for you, and wanted to, before we jump in this morning, to take you back last week when Wolfgang was teaching, and we've got a little clip to show you. So let's check this out.
See, this isn't about trying not to do bad things. It's about instead focusing on good things. Those little decisions that take us closer and closer to what God has in mind. Because what you feed grows and what you starve dies. So start with some of those positive things, those habits, those rhythms, those routines. Draw close to God. Go on the offense. Get into the Word. Learn to pray. Show up. Worship with passion. Love your family. Serve others. Discover generosity. Whatever it is, all of these things, that's going on offense instead of playing defense.
Well, Wolfgang, thank you so much again for that amazing message last week. And the good news is we get to hear from him again this week.
Oh, yes. What a treat. Always awesome. And speaking of, I think it's just about time for us to jump in together. So again, thank you for joining us and welcome to Northshore.
Well, hey, welcome to Northshore. It's good to see all of you joining us in this room. Welcome to everyone joining us online as well. Let's all stand together. We're going to worship Jesus today, find our hope in him. Let's sing. Now the darkness fades into new beginnings as we lift our eyes to a hope beyond. Sing, all creation waits with an expectation to declare the reign of the Lord our God. way. For the risen one is overcome. And for every fear, there's an empty grave. For the risen one is overcome. Now the silence breaks in the name of Jesus. As the heavens cry, let the earth respond. All creation shouts with a voice of triumph to declare the reign of the Lord our God. Yeah, we will not be moved when the earth gives way. For the risen one is overcome. And for every fear, there's an empty grave. For the risen one is overcome. Oh. Hey, whatever's on your mind today, maybe whatever you're distracted by, let's be encouraged by this next part. Sing, He shall reign forever. Let's focus on Him. He shall reign forever. Strongholds now surrender for the Lord. Our God has overcome. Sing it. Who can be against us? Jesus, our defender. He is Lord, and He has overcome. Yeah, He shall reign forever. Strongholds now surrender for the Lord. Our God has overcome. Who can be against us? Jesus, our defender. He is the Lord, and He has overcome. We will not be moved when the earth gives way. For the risen one is overcome. Yes, He has. And for every fear, there's an empty grave. For the risen one is overcome. We will not be moved when the earth gives way. No. For the risen one is overcome. And for every fear, there's an empty grave. For the risen one is overcome. Oh.
All my life is in your hands, and this whole world may hold me down, but it can never drown you out. And I'm not merely flesh and bone. Oh, I was made for something more. You are God, you're the great I am. Breath of life, I breathe you in. Even in the fire, I'm alive in you. You are strong in my brokenness, sovereign over everything. Even in the fire, I'm alive in you. beginning to the end. You deserve the glory. You deserve the glory. Come on, let's sing this out. It's no longer I who live, but Christ who lives within me. Christ who lives within me. From beginning to the end. Oh, you deserve the glory. You deserve the glory. You are God. You're the great I am. Breath of life, I breathe you in. Even in the fire, I'm alive in you. Oh, you are strong in my brokenness. Sovereign over every step. Even in the fire, I'm alive in you. You are God. You're the great I am. Breath of life, I breathe you in. Even in the fire, I'm alive in you. You are strong in my brokenness. Sovereign over every step. Even in the fire, I'm alive. I'm alive in Amen, amen. So good. Man, it's so good that we get to sing that truth together, that we are alive in Christ because of his sacrifice on the cross. Man, where would we be? Where would you be? I don't know where I would be. Probably somewhere crazy without that sacrifice. Man, that reminds me, there's a verse in Romans, and it says, when we were utterly hopeless, Christ came at just the right time, and he died for us sinners. And time again, we see it in scripture, or we see it in our own lives, that there's this exchange that happens when we're in relationship with God. The exchange is we bring him our brokenness, we bring him our shame or our weariness, our exhaustion, our anxiety, our depression. We bring him all of those things. And in turn, he gives us life. He gives us goodness and peace and comfort. And I don't know what you need today, but I know that if you walked in with any of those negative things, that our God is big enough, he's powerful enough, he's loving enough to give you that, all of those great things in return. And so we're gonna sing a song, and the bridge literally talks about this. It says, he brings beauty from ashes. He turns shame into glory. And it says, he's the only one who can. He's the only one. And we get to worship that God today. And so I just want to encourage you, whatever it is that you need to exchange for God's goodness or his peace, just lay it at his feet today. And we do that when we worship. Practically, we do that when we open our mouth and we relax our bodies and we lift our hands and we just surrender and say, God, I'm here. God, I trust you. So I want everyone in this room, can we just relax our bodies? Can we put our arms at our sides? We're gonna worship this morning. All right, let's sing this next song.
And I searched the world, but it couldn't fill me. And man's empty praise, treasures that fade are never enough. Then you came along and put me back together. And every desire is now satisfied here in your love. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, on, let's sing it together.
Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Lord, there's nothing is better than you. You turn graves into gardens. You turn bones into heartbeats. You turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. You turn graves into gardens. You turn bones into heartbeats. You turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who
Good morning, Northshore. You can take a seat. It's so good to be with you today. If we haven't met yet, my name's Cody. I'm on the team here, and we're glad that you are with us. And in fact, if you're new, we would love to get to know you a little bit better. And the best way you could do that is by pulling out your phone right now and texting Northshore to 97000. And we would love to get to know you a little more. Or if you're here on campus with us, you could check out the guest services table after the service. And we would love to just get to hear you a little more. Maybe you're thinking, what's the next step? Or how can I get plugged in a little bit deeper? This is the way. This is how you can be a part of our community in a little bit of a deeper way. And so we're excited to do that. But today's going to be a great day. And if we haven't met before, again, my name's Cody, and I'm on our next gen team here at Northshore. Which means I get to work with students, and I get to work with kids, and it's a great time to be here. And it goes without saying that it's been a uniquely weird season for all of us, but especially for students as we've figured out distancing and online school and all of the things that are changing. But I want to share with you from my point of view, it has been an incredible past couple of months as we've regathered here on campus to see students come in for our midweek activities, or we're beginning to honor and celebrate our graduating seniors and their families, or we've got a full summer lined up of exciting things and camps and all of the stuff that happens. But really, the reason we do all of that is because we know that God created us for community. And when we plug in and when we see friends and leaders and God as an opportunity to know him deeper, to be connected in that way, that God has amazing things in store for us. And maybe you're thinking, I haven't been connected, or I haven't been to church in a while, or maybe you have someone that you could invite. I want to encourage you to do that because God is doing amazing things here at Northshore, and it's incredible to be a part of. And if you want to know more about student ministry or anything like that, I'll be out in the lobby after the service. I would love to meet you, get to talk to you. Or if you want to check out our website online, you can do that at northshore.church/connect. But also, real quick, I want to say thank you. Because I know I have some amazing leaders in this room and leaders that are joining us online that serve and give their time every week to make something like this happen. And it's amazing to see what God can do with that. But also, I know so many of you play a part of this story as well by how you give financially. And if you've never done that before, I'd love to invite you to take that step to see how God can use something as simple as our time and our money to make eternal impact on people's lives. And so if you want to join us in that way, it would be amazing. And again, just invite you to take that next step. But before Wolfgang comes out and finishes our series, I Can Relate, I want you to check out this video.
Northshore Church, hello, this is Pastor Eugene Cho, and I'm just hanging out in the epic, beautiful Pacific Northwest that we all call home. And I am so excited that I get to be preaching at your church on June 6th, online, but guess what? Also in person, in the flesh. So hope to see you there. I'm going to be teaching about Jesus, discipleship, perseverance, and fishing. See you then. Bye-bye.
I can't promise he's going to bring the fish, man. I'm sorry. I wish he would, but that would be pretty cool. But we are so excited to have Eugene back next week, and so excited to see you today. Whether Northshore, you're here for the very first time, joining us online for the first time, or you've been here many times. My name is Jonathan Wolfgang. I'm part of the team here, and so glad to see you. Of course, as we all know, it's Memorial Day weekend, and it's that time when we stop for a second to just acknowledge how incredibly blessed we are to live where we live. For all of its imperfections, what a gift it is to get to live in this country. And for those who have sacrificed their lives, quite literally, so that we can enjoy the freedoms that we enjoy. And so, of course, this weekend we recognize that. We're grateful for their gift and sacrifice. For many others, Memorial Day also is another important day because it marks sort of the unofficial beginning of summer, right? I mean, this is when people get excited about that. Of course, here in the Northwest, that isn't true. We have another, even though it's gorgeous out there today, typically, we got another month of gray before we finally see permanent sun from the 4th of July typically on. But nevertheless, I thought in the spirit of sort of unofficially kicking off summer, I'd wear my summeriest shirt today. Some of you are like, what is he wearing? What is that thing that he has on? You haven't heard a word that I've said so far. Part of the reason I wore it is because it is my summeriest shirt. I'm in the summer mood. But secondly, it's because it's inspired by one of my favorite TV shows, an incredibly popular show many of you watch called The Office. Anybody fans of The Office here in the room? Yeah, I thought there might be a few. I'm sure there's plenty of you online as well. My 14-year-old cannot get enough of The Office. The reruns are on Comedy Central, so she's always watching it, recording it, rewatching it, loves the show. Well, this particular shirt is inspired by a scene from the show. Before I get into that, though, I wonder, just curiosity, who's your favorite Office character? Do you have a favorite? Maybe it's Michael Scott, right? The world's greatest and worst boss all at the same time. Or maybe you love the love story of the tension between Jim and Pam. Who doesn't love Jim and Pam? Or perhaps you're a Dwight fan. You prefer Dwight. Yes, Dwight is a hit. Local guy, Rainn Wilson, lives here in the Northwest, originally from here, plays. I ran into him in Haiti one time, believe it or not, when we were down there on a trip. That's a whole nother conversation. But anyhow, one of my favorite characters is this guy, Kevin, right? Just the hapless, clumsy guy from accounting who isn't terribly slick and smooth, but we find out in one episode in the series, in just a tiny little 40-second clip, that Kevin is one of the world's best at something very unique. Some of your big Office fans, you know what I'm talking about. Do you remember? It's his chili. Kevin is very proud of his chili. And as a special treat for his coworkers, he decides to bring some in one day. Take a look at what happens.
At least once a year, I like to bring in some of my Kevin's famous chili. The trick is to undercook the onions. Everybody is going to get to know each other in the pot. I'm serious about this stuff. I'm up the night before, pressing garlic and dicing whole tomatoes. I toast my own ancho chilies. It's a recipe passed down from Malone's for generations. It's probably the thing I do best.
Oh, I don't care how many times I've seen that, my heart just breaks for Kevin every time we see that scene. That scene is the inspiration for this shirt. We have a close-up of it so you can get a little better sense. It's pictures of Kevin having spilled his chili. And I found this shirt when we were kind of prepping for this series and thought, I need that shirt. So I bought myself a little present. And I know it'll be just distracting through the rest of the talk, but stick with me best you can, all right? Part of the reason it was such an iconic scene, part of the reason it inspired a shirt is because every one of us knows that feeling, right? Something you're so proud of, you're so excited about, you're so looking forward to that for one reason or another does not work like you hoped it would. Whether it spills, whether it breaks, whether it never happens, whatever the case might be, in our relationships and how we deal with stress and how we treat others. We've been talking about all these different areas that we can relate to. And this sort of disappointment, this sort of frustration in life is something we all know. And I want to wrap up the series today by talking about one of those things we can all relate to, something that has been extra hard for most of us over this last 15-month period in the pandemic, and that's this. It's the desire to control. Do you ever wrestle with that desire to control things in your life? In fact, just by way of sort of group confession, you online as well, please join us in this. How many of you would say there's some area where you love to be in control? Come on. Someone, put the hands up. Come on. Yeah, sure. It's pretty much all of us, isn't it? If you find yourself wanting to raise the hand of the person next to you, you have a serious control problem, all right? We're going to try to help you today. Jesus can set you free, friends, all right? You need to know. But all of us battle with this impulse to want to be in control. Maybe it's at work. Maybe it has to be done a certain way if you're in charge. And if it isn't, you'll just do it yourself. Maybe you work for someone like that. Maybe you are someone like that. Maybe it's in your family. Maybe it's in the way things are organized or set up in your home. It has to be in a certain place. Don't touch that. Leave that there, whatever it might be. Maybe it's in your relationships with certain people. You want control. With your kids, you wish you could just control. And so you try. If you don't do that, I'm going to ground you till you're 30, right? Or something like that. Maybe it's your spouse. You don't do what I want you to do, I'm going to withhold certain things from you, or I'm going to threaten other things. We all have areas in our lives where we like to be in control. Some of you, it's driving. I know people who cannot ride in a car unless they're the one driving. Some of them are in this room right now, right? Other people who, when it comes to watching television, they cannot handle it if they do not have the remote what? Control, right? Because as we all know, it's not about what's on, it's about what else might be on, right? That's what we all know TV is all about. And that feeling of having someone else controlling that moment makes it very hard for lots of people. Nobody likes to feel out of control. And yet, we've been feeling so much of it over the last 15 months, haven't we? So hard to plan. So hard to know what's going to happen. What's safe, what's not safe. Who to believe, who not to believe. What to do, what not to do. It's part of the reason so many of us, as hard as the actual disease has been, for more of us, the real struggle is we want out of this season that feels so out of control in our lives. In fact, this has reminded us just how little control we really have. Let's be honest. I've felt it. One of the great benefits that Northshore offers our ministry staff is a sabbatical. And after 7 years of ministry here at Northshore, we are eligible for 1 week per year of service to withdraw, to refresh, to rest, to recharge. It's an incredible benefit, such a blessing to our team and to their families. Well, tomorrow, actually, May 31st, marks 10 years since I came on staff here at Northshore. And for a bunch of reasons, I wasn't able to, yeah, that's nice of you to clap, thanks. 10 years is a long time in many ways. But for a bunch of reasons, I had never been able to take that sabbatical. There were a couple crazy things going on. Some of you have been around here know a little bit about that. And then, of course, so last year finally was that window that I could finally go. And so I made plans. I had itineraries, tickets, reservations, all sorts of things, all lined up. And then COVID, right? And as you may remember, I was supposed to have been gone from late last May until early last August. You may remember late May, I should say, was not a great time to be traveling, especially internationally. And so I said, hey, if I can't really do the stuff I'd like to do, I'm going to postpone it. We'll push it off a little bit longer. But I've decided I'm not going to postpone it any longer. And so I'm very thankful to be taking my sabbatical this year. In fact, it starts in about 2 hours, 27 minutes and 20 seconds. I'm not joking, yeah. I'm clapping too, believe me, I'm clapping too. But who's counting, right? Who's counting? This is also part of the reason for the shirt, right? You get away with things when you're about to take 2 months off. So maybe you can't. We'll see if I'm back after 2 months, we'll find out. But so excited about that. And sincerely, thank you to the leadership. We're so grateful as a family just for the incredible blessing that this is and the rest that's going to come. But can I still be honest? Even with my sabbatical that close to starting, there's still parts of my trip I don't know if I'll be able to do. Things I haven't reserved because I don't want to lose the reservation or the money, the down payment and all that. Because why? Because we can't control it. And you know what I'm talking about, not the sabbatical thing or a trip. Your area you wish could control is far more important than that. And as much as we joke about control and those kinds of things, this control struggle really reveals some deep things in our hearts. Because that impulse and need to control, it isn't just about personality, it isn't just about our wiring. This issue is a deep spiritual issue in our lives. Whether we're trying to control something that isn't ours to control, it's a reflection of a real spiritual struggle, even problem for many of us. Because what we're trying to do in that area of life is we're trying to be like God. I want to control because I know what's best, right? Trying to be like God. And friends, can we just acknowledge it? It's exhausting. It's tiring being God. Some of us have tried. It's why so many of us are so worn out. We've been trying so hard to be in control when the truth is we're just not. So as we finish up this series, I want to talk very specifically about this choice we have to make in life between control and surrender. Now, I know surrender is a dirty word in our world, right? Because when we hear that word, we think loss, we think failure, we think defeat, we think giving up. But let me just be upfront about what I'm hoping to be able to do today in the little time we have. I hope to help you discover that learning to surrender is really the only way to truly experience life. That there's a freedom in surrender that's actually you've been craving. But the only path there is surrender. It will determine whether you live a frustrated, exhausting life or a joy-filled, peaceful life. Surrender's the key. It's the path to that joy and that freedom. It is the foundation of faith. And you've heard me say this many times before. There are really only two great realizations in life, right? You get these two down, everything else falls in place. You know what they are? The first is, there is a God. And number two, you're not him. You figure those first two out, all the other things begin to line up. There is a God, and I'm not him. Some people so afraid to admit that, to actually surrender. They might concede to point one, but point two is where the problems come. Because they're afraid if they surrender, if they aren't in control, somehow they'll lose their identity. They'll become mindless robots. Because we like being independent, right? We like our freedom. And surrender means giving some of that up. Wait a second, if I surrender, does that mean does God want to make me a monk? Or a nun? Or a pastor? Something awful like that, you know? But listen to what Jesus says in Matthew 16. Verse 25, it'll be here on the monitor. He says, whoever wants to save their life, they'll lose it. But whoever loses their life for me will find it. He says this whole thing's all backwards. The crazy thing is, if you'll surrender, you'll find what real life's all about. But if you try to hold on, you try to cling to life, you will actually lose that thing that you want so badly. If you surrender, though, to me, if you live a life rooted in something deeper than your circumstances or in what other people do, you will find freedom. Because here's the truth, friends. You will either be dependent on your circumstances and the people around you, which are up and down, or you will be dependent on God. And which you choose will determine what your life is like. And if you will trust this God, if you will lean into him and surrender to him, you will find he is worthy of your trust. He can be counted on. So you put your hands in his, your life in his hands, I mean. Now, it's not easy. And I've found I have the same tendency most people do. As soon as I give them to him, I try to take them back, right? I surrender, but just temporarily. It's my kids, my marriage, my finances, my future, whatever it is. I surrender, Lord, but I'll take it back, thanks. So I want to get very practical as we finish this message. How do we actually surrender and sustain that surrender? Lay it back down after we've picked it up in our lives. And to do it, I want to look at one of the most famous verses in the Bible. I memorized it as a kid. If you've been around church world, you probably have memorized it. We teach it to our kids today. It's this famous passage in Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. You've heard it so many times, for some it just rolls off, but hear it with fresh ears. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Not just a little bit of you, all of it. And then this one that's really hard for me. Lean not on your own understanding. Your ideas, your plans, your dreams, your strategies. Don't put your confidence there. In all your ways, submit to him. Other translations will say acknowledge. It's a recognizing. It's a seeing God as above. Submit to him. And what will happen? He'll make your path straight. Not you'll make your path straight. Not you'll find your way. He'll make your path straight. Trust in the Lord with all of your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. Submit to him in all your ways. He'll make your path straight. See, here's the problem. I've seen it in my life. I'm betting some of you have seen it in yours. When I feel out of control, what's my impulse? Try to hold tighter, dig deeper, work harder, right? Trust not in him, but in me. It's not working the way I want it, I better do something about it. So this cycle begins. The more we want to control, the more we're afraid of losing control. The more afraid we are of losing control, the more we try to control. And we push, and we say, God, I've got this. But let's be upfront. Hasn't this last year taught us we don't got this? There are things in our lives that no matter how rich or smart or successful or strong you are, you can't control. We try to force the issues, take care of things ourselves. Parents do with their kids, right? All the time. There's even a phrase for it, helicopter parents, right? You know that phrase. That hovering parent who watches every little act. Oh, little Timmy, let me help you on that paper, because if you don't get an A, your life will be a failure, right? No, they don't say that, but they help with the paper. You're going to get the mail, wear your helmet, put on your knee pads, right? Protect every little move. Nobody here like that. Maybe some people watching online, but none here in this room, right? Gotta control. I actually read, this blew me away. The Huffington Post article from a few years ago said, shocked me, of recent college graduates, 8% actually bring one of their parents with them to job interviews. Did you know that? Can you imagine? A little job search tip for you. If you're interviewing for a job, leave mom in the car, all right? She drove you, that's cool. Don't bring her in, okay? And it's not just parents, it's dating, it's marriage, it's work, it's finance, physical health, trying to be in control. In fact, to be very practical with this, here's what I want to do. I want you to bring to mind one area, could be any of a number for most of us. Bring to mind one area that you right now are trying to control in your life. You might want to write it down, you might want to type it in your phone. If you're at home, you can kind of scribble it down because no one can peek over your shoulder, whatever it is. Write it down, give it a name. What are you trying to control right now? Are you trying to control your kids? Are you trying to control your grown kids? Are you trying to control your grown kids' kids, right? Because you're not happy with how your kids are raising your grandkids? Are you trying to control your finances? Trying to control your job future? Trying to control your spouse? Trying to control your image? What is it for you? What do you wrestle with? Now, if you don't want to write it down, you're just proving my point, right? Because you sit there, oh, no way he's telling me what to do, man. I'm in control of this. This message is for you, friend. Because we're just going to ask ourselves, is this something that's really mine to control? Or is this something that I'm supposed to trust in the Lord with all my heart and lean not on my own understanding? And even in this way, submit to him and then trust him to make my path straight. I'm going to choose surrender over control. Because in so many ways in my life, I try to take control. So there's three little questions that I came across. Actually, I found another pastor talked about this, and I love the way he phrased these, so I'm using them. There's a guy named Craig Rochelle in Oklahoma. Three questions. They kind of are echoes of that famous serenity prayer. You know, we talk about control, that's one of the things that comes to your mind. Some of you know the serenity prayer, you remember this? It's been around for a long time. It says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So good. It's not in the Bible, but it's rooted in the idea of surrender and trust that's everywhere in Scripture. So what are the three questions? Kind of inspired here, what are these questions I want you to think through in that area of control in your life. First, is it worth your concern? Is it worth my concern? In other words, there are so many things in our lives that just are not worth getting upset about. So many examples in our lives. I'll give you a really quick one because of time, but phone chargers at my house are a big deal. Are they a deal at your house? We have 5 phones in our house, 3 teenagers, my wife Lori and I. And every night, it's like a hunt to find a charger. Because the one that was next to my bed last night is no longer there for some strange reason. So we buy more, but they mysteriously disappear too. Does this only happen at our house? These elves are traveling the neighborhoods I'm gathering? Okay, good to know, good to know. And when that thing's gone again, assuming it's not one of the elves, somebody in the house took it, I have a choice. Is that really worth getting all worked up about? Is it really worth losing my cool about? Sometimes it feels like it is, right? I just need to charge my phone. But is it worth blasting someone I claim to love because sure enough they took that thing again? Can I help you with? No, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. And here's what I've learned about relationships. And friends, this is a struggle in so many settings, in so many environments. You can have control or you can have intimacy, but you can't have both. Problems is sometimes we get so worked up about the things that aren't that big a deal, and we toast our relationships as a result. Over a charger? Now, maybe it's a bigger thing. Maybe it's how the person votes or the news channel they watch. Maybe it's a dumb thing like how they fold the towels. I don't know. But first ask yourself, is this worth my concern? Some of us just need to relax. And some of you, do not elbow the person next to you right now, all right? Hold very still. Let me do my job up here, okay? Just relax. Pretend you don't know what I'm talking about. Is it worth my concern? Is it worth getting worked up over? Ask yourself. Ask yourself. Second question we're going to ask. Is it mine to control? Is it mine to control? Because there is sometimes something you ought to do about it. Does God do every single thing for us? No. God wants you to do some things yourself. There's a big difference between surrendering control and relinquishing responsibility. And sometimes under the guise of faith, people will be struggling in some way, let's say financial. And they'll just sit there and say, well, God, just send me a gift, Lord, send me a gift. And I think sometimes God says, I gave you gifts. It's called 2 hands and 2 feet. Why don't you go get a job? Why don't you not spend so much? Do something about this. If your marriage in trouble, what can you do? You can adjust your heart. Just wait for God to magically make your marriage better. Take steps to get counseling or even just connect in a life group with people that are also working through things in life that you can learn from and be inspired by and can help you along the path. You want to, if your child's making bad decisions, you want to be available to your child. Build a bridge, open doors, maintain communication. There are things you can do in those situations. So there are some things you should do. Ask yourself honestly, is this mine to control? If it is, then do something about it. But if it's not, we're going to ask a third question. Remember the 3 big questions we're walking through? First, is it worth my concern? Second, is it mine to control? And third, is it for God alone? Is this for God alone? Is this one of those areas where I'm trying desperately control, but it is not mine to control? Look at Philippians chapter 4. Again, well-known verses written by the Apostle Paul, who was chained to a Roman guard under house arrest. His freedom has been taken from him, and yet he writes these powerful words. Here's what he said, and again, you've heard it before. He says, do not be anxious about anything. Anybody anxious about anything this week? Can I tell you this last week, trying to prepare to be gone for a couple months on sabbatical, as wonderful a blessing as it is hectic. Trying to tie up every little thing, figure out every lead. There are things that are not done. Don't be anxious about them, he says. But in every situation, even that one we're thinking about in this conversation, by prayer and petition, With thanksgiving, present your request to God. Bring it to him, he says. In every situation, present your request to God. Sometimes I think we're a little insulting to God because we reach this point where we say, well, now all we can do is pray. All we can do is pray. And I think God's up there maybe hearing that like, boy, you are stuck, man. Holy cow. All you have is access to the all-powerful God of the universe. Whoo, sucks to be you, you know? When in reality, his power and presence is just a prayer away. Don't insult God by resorting to it as a last resort. It's never a last resort. It is our first line of offense. Scripture says we can go boldly before the throne of grace. We have access to God. That's what we're thankful for. We have access to him. He hears us, even in that area that you want to control. And then what happens when we do it? Look what he goes on. He says, what happens when you do this? The peace of God, which transcends all understanding, supernatural stuff, not wishful thinking or Pollyanna or naive ignoring what's going on, denial. Peace of God, which transcends understanding, will do what? It will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. You may be vulnerable to attack in that anxious moment, but his peace will stand guard, and he's good at guarding, friends. When there's something we can't control, we say, God, this one's actually yours. And so I present it to you, I trust it to you, I'm trusting you with all my heart. I'm leaning not on my own understanding. I'm submitting to you in my ways, and I'm trusting you'll make my path straight. So what does he do when we do that? A peace that transcends understanding, that will blow your mind. I know so many people, talking to them in the middle of their struggles, they're doing so unbelievably well, and people will ask them, how are you doing so well in the middle of this? I say, I can't explain it. God's getting me through it. One day at a time, one step at a time, God is getting me through it. Why? Because they're not controlling it. They know he's in control. So it's in your marriage. What's for you to control, what's not? Can you control your spouse? Anybody? No. I'll help you with that one. Can God change your spouse? Yeah. Can you heal your body? Somehow will yourself healthy? But can God? Things you can do, you get good treatment, you can find good doctors, of course. But God's the healer, so I trust you. Go down the list. Your kids, can you control your kids' future? No. Can you pray for them? Can you set an example for them? Can you encourage them? Of course you can, but ultimately, it's trusting God to guide your kids. I trust in the Lord with all my heart. I lean not on my own understanding. And so when you feel that impulse to try to be God instead of letting him do the job, ask yourself, just catch yourself, is it worth my concern? Is it mine to control? And if not, is this just for God alone? There is a God and I'm not him. And so I'm going to trust his goodness with all my heart and rely on him to lead the way. Choose surrender over control. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, including that particular situation, present your request with thanksgiving, knowing that the God of peace, which transcends all understanding, will guard your heart and your mind in Christ Jesus. Which is, of course, friends, exactly what Jesus did when he came into one of these moments. When he was there in that garden the night of his arrest, the next day he'd be crucified, he wrestled with control or surrender. He wanted the plan to change, didn't want to go through with what he knew would be hard. And do you remember what he prayed there in the garden? You remember, here it is. Abba, Father, he said, everything is possible for you. You are God. Take this cup from me. I don't want to do this. Yet, not what I will, but what you will. I choose surrender over control. And aren't you glad he did? You know why? You know why he did it? You were his concern. And could he have done something about it? He could have. He could have hit the eject button on the plan. walked away, but he didn't. He surrendered to the Father. Your will, not mine, Lord. And by doing that, he threw open a door that changes all of our lives if we just embrace it. He knew God could be trusted, and so can you. So let me ask you, aren't you tired of trying to control everything? Isn't it exhausting? What would happen if today you just said, Lord, I surrender. Help me not to pick this back up, but today I surrender. In fact, here's what we want to do today to finish up. Rather than sing a song together to kind of wrap up our time, we want to sing a song over you, including those watching online. We want to give you a moment to do some business with God, to acknowledge that area you've been trying to control, and to concede to those two great truths: there is a God, and you're not him. To say, Lord, I trust you with this, with all my heart. Teach me not to lean on my own understanding. I submit to you, and I trust you to make my path straight. You know, that same Jesus who said, your will, not mine, he said these words in Matthew 11. He said, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you what? I'll give you rest. Do you need some rest today? I want to give you a chance to have some rest. So here's what I want to ask you to do. Whether you're at home or you're sitting here in the room, we're going to bring the lights down. We want to invite you to just close your eyes. And you can open them to read along the lyrics if you're having trouble following, but just listen closely as Jeffrey and Brandon and Kiki come. And we want to sing this song over you. And maybe as you sit there, you know, that universal sign of surrender is hands up, right? Open hands. Maybe as you sit there, just even as a physical expression of your desire to surrender, you want to open up your hands. See, I surrender what I've been holding, God, control. It's an illusion anyway. And I open my hands to receive your rest and your peace. So maybe you need to do that right now. I hope you will. Listen to this.
I see it clear now. You're all around me in every little thing. Where can I go now to flee your presence? There's nowhere you won't be. To hear your voice
are seen, and you are known, and you are loved by our Father. And I hope in the middle of whatever you're trying so hard to control, you will let yourself be washed over by the peace that passes understanding. Whatever you're working so hard to hold, release to Him. And so, God, I thank you. I thank you that your ways are higher than our ways. I thank you that there is a God and we're not you, because I'd be a lousy God. And I pray that you will sustain us, that you will guide us. We submit ourselves to you and trust you to make our path straight. Not necessarily smooth, but straight. Thank you for your concern for us, that you did what you could do by sending Jesus. And we entrust our lives, our souls, and all that we are to you alone. I surrender. And I thank you. In the name of the one who said he would give us rest, Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. Well, thank you. Thank you for being part of this moment, being part of this place, being part of this time. So grateful to have you. And of course, next week, I do hope you'll be back again, log on again. Eugene will be here. I'm sure a great message, maybe some fishing tips, I don't know. And you won't want to miss that. But in the meantime, we love you guys. We love you. And speaking only for myself, I'll see you in August, all right? So peace out. Have a good night.
Guys so much for joining us this week, and we hope you're just able to receive that, and as you leave from here, just find some rest this week.
Yeah, and again, don't miss out on next week. We have an awesome guest speaker who's coming, Eugene Cho, and it's going to be another great time. But we hope to see you then, same time, same place, right here at Northshore Online.